Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now a short squeeze is playing out and could continue as funding rates are currently negative, and this means Bitcoin is potentially repeating history, which I'll talk about later in the video, so make sure to watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a quick update here on the 3-day Bitcoin chart. And once again, as I've been saying over the last few days, this hidden bullish divergence is still playing out. And so once again, as I've said over the last few days, this is pointing towards a trend continuation in the much larger bullish trend that is visible here on the 3-day chart or the weekly chart, basically the larger timeframes. Because here on the larger timeframes, as we've seen since the beginning of this year, we've seen significant higher lows and higher highs take place here in the price of Bitcoin pretty much all year long. And so once again, this massive hidden bullish divergence on the 3-day time frame is pointing towards the continuation of this much larger bullish trend. And if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, obviously in this time period just here, we were in more of a shorter term bearish trend, a bearish trend somewhat visible here on the daily time frame, but not so much on the 3-day time frame. But as I've been talking about over the last few weeks, I've been preparing you for a possible bullish trend reversal because we have been seeing early signals like, for example, a breakout in the RSI showing strength in the RSI and the price action. And we have not only seen that initial breakout to the upside in the RSI, but obviously we've seen a successful retest in the RSI, flipping previous resistance into new support and forming new higher highs and higher lows in the RSI. And on top of that, we have seen bullish momentum in the MACD. And on top of that, obviously a bullish divergence has been playing out over the last couple of weeks here on the daily time frame. And so once again, when you put all of these signals together, this is pointing towards bullish price action, which is obviously now playing out as expected. But once again, as I've been saying over the last few weeks, these signals have been pointing towards a potential trend reversal in the more bullish direction out of this bearish trend on the daily time frame. But with that being said, those have just been early signals, and until we confirm higher highs in the price and higher lows, technically we do not technically have a bullish trend. But right now, as of recording this video, of course, we have now seen a new higher high in the price of Bitcoin above this previous high and of course this high right here, because the price of Bitcoin, at least at the time of recording this video, has reached a local high of around 28,500. And if you're looking at this previous high that we saw a little over a week ago, that's sitting at around 27,500. And this previous high that we saw at the end of August is sitting just above 28,000, more specifically around 28.2k. So once again, right now we have formed a new higher high in the price of Bitcoin, and we also now have a higher low. And so technically speaking, this is now a bullish trend playing out here on the daily time frame. So we have technically reversed from bearish back to bullish in terms of the trend visible here on the daily time frame. And now it is important to understand that even though we are now technically back in a bullish trend on the daily Bitcoin chart, obviously we can still experience shorter term bearish price action on smaller time frames. For example, just around 1 week ago approximately, we did see a correction from around 27,500 down towards around 26,000. But technically speaking, that is currently occurring within the current bullish trend here on the daily time frame. So of course, a bullish trend does not mean 100% bullish price action all the time. It just means we're looking more bullish than bearish. And this potentially means Bitcoin is repeating history, because the last time where we flipped from a bearish trend on the daily time frame back to a bullish trend, obviously that was back during around the middle of June this year. Of course, we had a bearish trend that lasted for a couple of months, and then the moment we saw a breakout above this descending line of resistance in the price action, that was basically the signal to flip much more bullish again in the price. And during that time period, we also saw a major short squeeze, which basically added fuel to the fire, fuel to the bullish fire. And just recently, we have actually seen a bit of a short squeeze play out, because if you're looking at the Bitcoin funding rates right now, pretty much all of the Bitcoin funding rates, at least at the time of recording this video, are sitting in the negative territory. And in case you're new to all of this, what negative funding rate means is essentially there's a premium to short Bitcoin right now on the derivatives market. So essentially the price of Bitcoin on the derivatives market, on the perpetual futures market, is lower than on the spot market. And so essentially there's a lot of traders out there trying to short short Bitcoin right now and are willing to pay an extra premium to short Bitcoin, because when the funding rates are negative, that's basically a rebalancing mechanism that the exchanges have. Basically, when the funding rates are negative, the short positions have to pay that funding rate as a fee to the long positions. And so essentially the traders with short positions right now are paying extra fees, while the traders with long positions are actually collecting extra fees on top of the rise in the price of Bitcoin. And so essentially what this means is this is creating an extra incentive to long Bitcoin. And when you open a long position on Bitcoin, that adds buying pressure. And of course, with the price of Bitcoin going higher and higher, this actually liquidates short positions and stops out short positions. And essentially when short positions close or get liquidated or get stopped out, that also adds buying pressure anytime a short position gets closed. And so essentially right now that short squeeze is playing out where it's pushing the price higher, liquidating more short positions, which pushes the price higher, liquidating even more short positions. And despite this playing out over the last 1 to 2 days, there are still a lot of traders trying to short Bitcoin right now, because once again, the funding rates are still sitting in the negative territory, at least as of recording this video. And so what this means is the short squeeze that has been playing out just recently could potentially continue while the funding rates are still in the negative. But if these funding rates start flipping positive again, that would basically be a signal telling us that the short squeeze is over, which means we do not have that extra added buying pressure, that extra fuel pumping the price of Bitcoin. And something else to pay attention to, at least in the somewhat shorter term, is of course the daily Bitcoin RSI. Obviously, this bullish divergence is still playing out, but with that being said, the daily Bitcoin RSI is getting very close to overbought territories. And now, technically speaking, it's not there just yet, but if the price of Bitcoin continues a little bit higher, for example, if the short squeeze continues a little longer, this would pull the RSI further to the upside into overbought territories, meaning we have limited room to the upside, at least in the shorter term, because essentially when the RSI is overbought, that tells us we've gone too far to the upside too quickly, and we need some time to cool off to help reset the RSI. And these cool-offs can play out in the form of either a correction or pullback, or potentially just some choppy sideways price action, because yes, neutral price action can help to reset the RSI back down towards more neutral levels. And a perfect example of that happening here on the daily time frame is what we saw back here during around the end of March. Obviously, during around the middle of March, we saw a massive, very fast move to the upside, which sent the RSI straight into overbought territories on the daily time frame. And then over the next 1 to 2 weeks or so, we actually saw a bit of a sideways consolidation, not much of a pullback in the price of Bitcoin, which did help to reset the RSI slightly, giving us a little bit more room to the upside later on. So it's worth pointing out that, of course, that is a possibility moving forward if this RSI continues into overbought territories. And as for support and resistance, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously over the last 1 day, we have now seen a clean breakout, not only above this descending line of resistance, which was sitting at around 27.2k, but also this previous high and the 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, which was sitting at around 27.4k. And as I said in my last video on the channel, if the price of Bitcoin breaks above 27.4k, then I would expect the price to continue up towards around 28,000. And obviously that's exactly what has happened. And in fact, obviously just recently, the price of Bitcoin has broken slightly above 28,000, which could potentially act as a bit of support in the short term. Once again, support at around 28,000. And as for resistance, taking a look at that daily Bitcoin chart, bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from swing high to swing low, the current level of resistance, which the price is currently attempting a breakout above, is sitting at around 28.1k to 28.2k approximately, which is the 50% retracement level and also this previous high. And now, technically speaking, here on the daily time frame, we still need to see a daily candle close in order to confirm a breakout above that level of a resistance. And if that happens, if we further confirm this breakout to the upside, then in that case, the next important resistance is the golden pocket sitting in between around 28.9k to 29.2k. And so essentially, if we can now flip 28.1 to 28.2k into new support and continue the breakout to the upside, then once again, next we could soon be heading towards 29,000. And now, if we end up seeing that movement within the next few days, it's extremely likely that the RSI will be in overbought territories in that scenario. And so with the price running into major resistance at that higher level, possible with the RSI in overbought. If that actually happens, it would be extremely unlikely we would actually break through the golden pocket on the first attempt. And so it's very likely that we will see some sort of cool off, either a sideways consolidation or pullback between now and this golden pocket. But once again, a pullback or consolidation does not necessarily mean the end of the bullish trend. It's just basically a break or a setback from the bullish trend, kind of like what we saw just here. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and obviously the price of ETH just recently has been continuing the breakout above this important area of resistance, which should now act as new support, sitting in between around 1620 to 1660. And as I said, around 3 to 4 days ago, when we initially saw this breakout to the upside above 1660, I said back then that we're likely going to next head up towards around 1.8k or very close to 1.8k, because that is where the next major area of resistance starts in the volume profile indicator. And obviously, so far, that's exactly what has played out as expected. So far, the price of ETH has gotten very close to 1.8k. In fact, within $30 of 1.8k so far. And as for the daily Ethereum price oscillators, right now, the MACD is still looking bullish, as I've been talking about over the last few days. And as for the daily Ethereum RSI, once again, as I've been talking about almost every day over the last few weeks, this has been a leading indicator for the bullish price action, which is now playing out, because obviously the RSI has already been trending to the upside, forming higher lows and higher highs, which is a sign of strength for the RSI and the price action. And on top of that, of course, we still have an active bullish divergence playing out on the daily time frame, which means we're due to see either choppy sideways price action, if not a bullish relief, which is obviously playing out as expected. But once again, it is worth pointing out that the daily Ethereum RSI is very close to overbought territories. And so this means the same thing as what I said for Bitcoin earlier in the video. Once again, in the somewhat shorter term, we have limited room to the upsides, which basically means we could only perhaps go a little bit higher before very soon we're going to have to see some sort of cool off to help reset the RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which can give us some more room to the upside later on. And once again, a cool off to help reset the RSI can play out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight pullback in the price to help reset the RSI. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool on the 4-hour time frame from this previous swing high down to this swing low, obviously what we can see over the last 1 day is a clean breakout well above the 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, which was sitting at around 1.7k. And like I said in my last video on the channel, if we break above 1.7k, then expect a move straight up towards around 1740 to 1750 approximately, which is exactly what has happened. And right now, that level at around 1740 to 1750 is currently acting as short-term resistance based on this previous high. But if we do end up seeing a confirmed breakout above around 1750 approximately, then in that case, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool on the daily time frame, the next important resistance is the golden pocket sitting in between around 1.8k to around 1815. And once again, we have this significant area of resistance in the volume profile indicator in between around 1.8k going all the way up towards around 1.9k. But once again, like I said earlier for Bitcoin, it is extremely likely that between now and this golden pocket, we are likely going to see some sort of either correction or consolidation to help reset the RSI, because basically it is extremely unlikely, not impossible, but extremely unlikely for the price to essentially continue straight to the upside and break out above the golden pocket on the first attempt on this same movement to the upside without any consolidation or pullback beforehand. Because obviously in that scenario, if we're just going straight to the upside above the golden pocket, first of all, the golden pocket will be major resistance. And also at that stage, if that plays out, the RSI will be extremely overbought on the daily time frame. So essentially in the somewhat shorter term, perhaps in the coming days, expect some sort of cool off, either some sideways price action or possibly a slight pullback. But remember, overall, in terms of the trend, we are simply looking more bullish than bearish. As for the RSI and the momentum, still looking more bullish than bearish. But either way, if you want to know how to make a lot of money very easily in the crypto market, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.